I'm Joe Hebert, CEO and President of OutCrop Silver and Gold. We are active in Colombia, and probably the most important thing I convey is the progress on the discovery, high quality discovery we have at Santa Ana project continues to grow, and we are working directly towards a resource statement, and otherwise. Establishing that Colombia remains a good place to work despite the change of government.
The continuing change of government, it seems, in Colombia. But hey, look, I haven't seen you since middle of August, and things going well. Your share price has doubled since we saw you. Not bad for a silver company. What do you put that down to?
Grade, in a large part. I think people are realizing that that we have a real chance of putting out about a upper 20th percentile on grade of silver, equivalent silver worldwide. And, grade just really affects that metric between the number of ounces time and EV per ounce value. And along with research capital forecasting us at 75 cents is when we do the resource report at 50 million. It's likely that we can exceed that just based on the valuation of high-grade mineralization as opposed to average grades.
Right, but the secret sauce in here is going to be the amount of contained silver, right? So you raised a little bit of money after I spoke to you back in August. You've been doing some drilling with some good success here, but you've also then delayed the resource statement as a result. So what can you tell us about that one? Some people are concerned.
Yeah, I can understand the concern. I don't know if December or the end of year, essentially December being the day of the deadline for the report was a good idea. We really couldn't control our independent QP on exact dates, so it would have gone into January. But the most important thing was that we have Santa Ana in some extent seems charmed, but we had excellent preliminary metallurgical and recovery results, up 94% for silver, 96% for gold, and above 70% for zinc and lead. But unfortunately, Micon, and it's their prerogative to do so, they wanted more tests in order to use those high recoveries because basically otherwise they would risk weight it. So we immediately, once we knew that, basically if you reduce recovery, you reduce grade. And grade, I think, is the most attractive part of the Santa Ana project. So we immediately started pulling core material for SGS labs in Peru to do flotation tests, more flotation tests and concentration tests. And we anticipate when we do that, Micon will be able to do the extremely good recoveries.
Right. Okay. And so, can you just tell us a little bit about how much drilling did you do since I last saw you? And how much more is outstanding at the moment?
Yeah, we did. We went to 2 rigs to dedicate both of those to definition drilling. I think since August we've averaged about 1,500 meters a month. When we saw that we were going to delay the resource report, we brought on 3 rigs. Just because the more you can put that drilling into high value resource production as opposed to just waiting for the next report. We now have 3 rigs running. We'll be averaging 1,800 meters to 2,200 meters a month, at least for the next 7 months, and then depending on the status of the targets and some surface easements, we will do no less than 20,000 meters in this calendar year.
Right, and look, you started off as project generators, and I guess you would describe yourselves as explorers now. And if you're going to put out a resource, you must be looking back at 2022, looking at some of the companies that put out resources, got no reaction from the marketplace, even got marked down. In some instances, was that part of your thinking at all, or was it entirely for technical reasons that it was delayed? Because I'm trying to work out, because we've spoken to a lot of companies. They've been trying to work out how to play the narrative in the marketplace, given the reactions that were coming out last year. So, were you pleased to have come up with a reason not to put it out? Would you like to have put it out at the end of the year? Do you think you're going to be in a much better place for delaying it? How do those conversations go?
We obviously, I think we would have liked to met the expectation we put out. good idea or not, but I think we will have a much higher quality report to delay into the first quarter. And again, and I might be repeating myself, but it's grade, because recovery inherently reduces grade. Because it's just there's only three multiples in the equation: tons, grade, and recovery. So we would have took a substantial ding on the recovery without doing, the additional flotation and concentrate tests. And anyway, for that reason, it'll be a better report if we wait.
Right. Okay. And again, because you kind of started down at the project generator side of things, and I don't know how long, or if you've got sort of comparable experience to where you find yourself now, you're not going to take this thing into meaningful development. You're not going to take this thing into production. So you know who you are, but you also must have some metrics in mind when you say, right, we need to drill X meters, we need to prove up. Well, the scale, quite frankly, how do you qualify that to be able to attract people to come in here? Because you've got multiple other projects you can work up as well, right? Santa Ana's the one that you're focused on. It's giving up the answers at the moment. So how do you play this going forward into this year?
I think you're basically correct. Although we haven't declined any options, we're explorers. Mining is where the risk is, and it's a different specialty. And also, we have three other quality projects almost as good as Santa Ana. So what we look at as a metric, we have two metrics. One is that it takes about 32,000 meters to hit 50 million ounces. The other is that we tend to put out about 4 to 5 million ounces for each kilometer we drill. I think the expectation can be, or my expectation would be to bring this to at least 100 million silver equivalent ounces. That's going to be roughly 80 to 1 silver to gold, a little more. Very little base metals involved. And I think what we would like to do is probably vend it and then probably have some royalty or exploration upside on the rest of the project.
Right. I think it's really, really important, if you're playing that game, to be able to lay out for your shareholders and others who may be looking in prospectively, is to how you move all your projects forward. We have companies come on here who just stick with this kind of same tried and tested model, and last year that didn't work for them. But they weren't agile enough to kind of change and adapt. So again, has any of your thinking had to change or adapt? Does that 100 million ounces, is that number attractive anymore? Gold guys are coming and say, well, million ounces gold used to be attractive. It's now 2, possibly 3, to kind of move the dial in terms of getting interested parties coming in. So has silver changed or evolved in terms of its thinking, or you were thinking about playing the silver game?
I see continue. I think silver, even over the time frame I'm talking to produce 100 million ounces. I say that would be a minimum, depending on what actually happens in terms of interest. But the silver is showing. I think over even the last less than 2 months, I believe, the ratio of gold silver has gone from 95 to 75, and gold is accelerating, or gold is appreciating, and silver is appreciating too. So it's I think there's sort of the there's always that metric, but I think 100 million ounces will at least get people interested, and that doesn't say we have to stop there, because we certainly have a lot of exploration that can be done beyond 100 million ounces. Or that 100 million ounce potential, I should say. Right.
Okay. So what is the remind me again? What's the time frame for the revised date for the resource statement?
We're just gonna we're gonna say this quarter.
Okay.
Because we have it's a little bit time consuming. We have to go back. We have to pull representative material from core. We might even have to drill a couple of close-spaced holes in order to get that. And then it has to go to SGS Labs in Peru to do that. And then we're going to go full steam ahead with 3 rigs particularly since we've learned that, honestly, not honestly, I mean, of course, but since Micon is conservative, we've had people sort of after the fact tell us that is we don't want to have any other shortfalls with respect to what they want and what we think we can deliver. So we're also going to drill during that time frame.
Okay, tax loss season over. People have kind of placed their bets, realigned their portfolios. You've doubled your market. You've doubled your share price up to 65 million market cap, albeit over 4 short months. Do you take advantage of this environment and go and raise some money now, even though you may have money to last you for the next 6 months or so?
Yeah, I think it would probably be a good idea because obviously everyone expects a bit of volatility, in where the price is going up. I think if it can be, sort of a firewall for any dilution, if things did turn out less promising this year, is I think, we would go ahead and raise additional money. Most of that, again, would go to Santa Ana, but we might be able to advance a little bit of scout drilling and get some juice on two other projects.
That's exactly where I was going next, which was about how do you manage that portfolio? Because Santa Ana, you will take it through to, well, you get a resource statement out, right, which is great. It's a question of how much more drilling do you add, how many more ounces do you, and what sort of grade do you add to an updated resource statement after this next one, before you start trying to attract bidders, as it were. And in the meantime, what do you do? I think you said there are 2 to 3 potentially assets potentially as good as Santa Ana, and how do you start that process with them? So you're obviously deep in thought about how you manage that process. So can you give some ideas of what 2023 looks like in terms of the portfolio management side of things?
I would say if we do have a reasonable opportunity to protect shareholders to raise a little bit more money, we would continue or even accelerate the program in Santa Ana. But the 2 critical projects that in fact, they would be second ranked, not even second ranked to Santa Ana, but they would be second in line to do the same thing and repeat the whole process. And that would be Argelia and Majame in Nariño. Argelia is another easy project like Santa Ana. It's actually even easier, but you still have to invest that time of working on your social license and working with the local municipality governments, working with the church, working with the schools, and so on. So, like I say, that would definitely proceed, at least in Argelia, because it's easier to work than Majame and Nariño, and if we could, we would like to at least do scout programs in Argelia if we raise additional money than needed for Santa Ana. I think what people will see fairly reasonably is that it's a strong portfolio. We've got 5 projects, 2 that have potential open pit component we would like to farm out. We're talking to some people that are active in Colombia, but we're going to hold on to the extremely robust vein projects because they're things you have very hard finding and securing anywhere in the world. Yeah,
no, for sure. Because I think the other tough piece, and I think you kind of bucked the trend compared to some of your peers, I mean true peers, is it's another South American silver story, right? And there's a lot of those stories around to kind of stand out as toughness. You've alluded to potentially one of the sticky points, obviously, the Colombian government and what its intentions are. But you've been able to kind of demonstrate a process and sort of an attitude to how you kind of create that value. So it's been interesting. Certainly the last conversation. I just wish you'd come on sooner because one of the other things you did say to me was that you would up your game in terms of marketing. Have you been able to do that?
I can't say what's making what's working. Honestly, to me, it's always a mystery about what works and what doesn't work. Honestly, you have to do it, but it's like, what's exactly working. But I think, really is important is, and I need to speak her name, is Kathy Lee came on as IR director, and she has a program. So I know where she's going. She knows where she's going. We brought in a lot of more social media influencers like Wall Street Silver, Economic Ninja, a couple others like that. And I think that it's just a lot broader message than we had previously. And it's also, there's some steady direction towards it. I just think we're doing a better job.
Fantastic. Well, look, I appreciate the update. Hopefully we'll see you a bit sooner next time around. But keep doing what you're doing. We'll look forward to this resource statement at some time in Q1.
Yep. Great. We're looking forward to it too.